Check out what's coming up on today's episode.
Unless you're dumb.
If there was a John Lennon type figure for the so-called Generation X, it would be Cobain.
The body of Nirvana leader Kurt Cobain was found in a house in Seattle on Friday morning, dead of an apparently self-inflicted shotgun blast to the head.
You mentioned in Rolling Stone about another note that he wrote to you.
It's like a letter, and it's not really like a suicide note.
Where'd you find it?
It was in my bedroom under my pillows.
Under your pillows?
Yeah.
There's only one problem with that, Courtney.
What?
I looked under your pillows.
It first got reported that Courtney Love hired private investigator Tom Grant.
Some red flags started popping up immediately, so I began recording every conversation I had with Courtney.
As it is, she's inherited a estate worth tens of millions of dollars. That's motive.
There was more to this than what I was being told.
If I were the chief today, I would reopen this investigation. It could be made to look like a suicide. A very disturbing case.
Kurt Cobain was not barricaded inside the room. He did not leave his driver's license out. No one would believe that was a suicide note.
Man Enterprises exclusively presents a talk show that will get to the bottom of things once and for all. And now here's your host for Let's Get to the Bottom of That. Three weirdos on a mic. Welcome back into another episode of Let's Get to the Bottom of That. I'm your host, Byron Dice. And I'm joined in studio weekly with a bunch of weirdos. We like covering topics that are left out in the public square, unattended, covered questions from the official story. And today we've got a really weird official story. So I want you to put your tinfoil hats back on, relax, and let's get to the bottom of Kurt Cobain. All right, weirdos, welcome in.
Welcome.
Who we got? We got sounding off Joey.
Teresa.
Rachel.
We got Samantha and Rachel. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. It's been quite a week. I'm saying that like we're not recording all in one day. It's stupid.
I like it when you say that.
I know.
It's been 6 days since our last recording.
It's been 6 days, but nobody knows that.
Sounds like an alcohol.
Can we keep
anonymous.
it secret? Can we keep it like
Okay,
on the DL?
Susan wants to keep it secret. Like we're out here every week recording.
We're on the cusp of a summer solstice.
Yeah,
They can't see our clothes. They don't know that we haven't changed clothes.
that's true.
It's not like
What
we're
if I
video.
recorded
Speak for
every one of
yourself.
these? That would be weird. I know when me and Susan had a YouTube channel, we would go do wardrobe changes.
We absolutely did.
Just so people people would
you
know.
don't get
oh,
those nasty comments like you guys
yeah,
are
why did you? Yeah,
Yeah.
why are y'all still in the same clothes?
Yeah, we actually recorded this a year after the Area 51 episode.
Yes, it's been 1 year to the date, and I apologize.
And we just aired it 2 weeks after the Area 51.
I did want to say this. Today we're talking. You're probably going, "Why are y'all doing a show on Kurt Cobain?" But all I wanted to go was, "I need a friend."
Yeah, play that video. You gotta tell her. You gotta tell people where to go to find that video.
Okay. Anyway, but I do
Stop.
not have a clue. Anyway,
You did really good.
that was actually a rendition of "Puddle of Mud."
Yeah.
That tried to do a cover
You gotta tell
of.
everyone where to find that video.
You can just go to YouTube, say cover for "About a Girl," "Puddle of Mud."
Yeah.
And it's classic.
This tune.
Yeah, they tried. Yeah, he really tried.
He did, man. Well,
His band was keeping it together.
he
Yeah,
was. They were playing it. They just kept looking like, bro, this guy's a really, Really
He's had a
struggling.
rough
If you
morning.
don't know,
You're like, quit using the head voice.
right? He was like, and the face was like he was struggling. But
No,
you
my
know,
favorite was when they slowed it down.
oh, that was
Yeah,
even
and
worse.
his face like gets bigger towards the screen.
Yeah. If you don't know who Kurt Cobain, our listeners, he was the lead singer of a band called Nirvana.
Area 51.
Yeah, Area 51. That was the name of the band, and he changed it quickly after that when he moved to Seattle. After Skinwalker took over his body, he moved to Seattle, and they became Nirvana.
Really?
Now,
I thought it was- I
Nirvana-
thought it was fecal matter.
It was fecal matter when he was a kid.
Yeah.
He
Oh, it was it was fecal matter.
Dude,
Now, the
Kurt-
reason I'm saying this, Kurt Cobain and Nirvana actually changed the landscape of modern rock in the 90s.
Yeah.
So a lot of bands attribute their rise to success because of what Nirvana did. He said he was not grunge. If you hear interviews with Kurt, he was just a guy that wanted to make music. He wasn't about all the gimmicks. He couldn't stand the last decade of music that came up before him, which is the 80s glam bands.
Which was amazing.
Which I get, and I've heard Vince, what's his name from Neil Vince from Motley
Vince
Crue.
Neil.
Actually, he made this statement. It was like, because somebody asked him about the grunge scene. He was like, you know what? I don't care about sitting around playing a guitar with baggy pants on, looking down on my shoes, and I'm depressed. I already know life sucks.
Yeah.
I don't want to sing about it. I play music and I have fun to get away from that. That was his take. But of course, Kurt was like, which I can respect Kurt for stating about all the gimmickry, all the music industry. He just wanted to, wear his flannel shirt and his torn up jeans, smoke cigarettes,
Cigarettes.
shoot heroin, and do whatever.
Yeah, you can relate.
Doing all the same stuff
It's just,
the rockers were
I just
doing.
don't want the gimmick. I just want to play music and I hope people enjoy it.
Well, he was a real down-to-earth guy, dude. Like, just straight up.
Yeah, sure.
Didn't like the fame.
Right. Didn't like any of
care
that.
about it. Was just like, hey, I just like making music.
It sounds like he was like that as a child, too.
I want to put my heart and soul into this stuff, and that's what he did, man. And I love Nirvana. I think the phenomenal music. I love that whole 90s grunge scene. And I kind of agree. I'm not really an 80s rock guy, dude.
Well, because
you came up behind it.
Well, because it was gay.
No, it wasn't.
No,
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
Ozzy Osbourne is not gay.
You
what are you talking about? Metallica is not gay.
Ozzy was like 60s, dude. 60s,
No, he was
70s
not,
metal.
dude. He came up in the 80s. Are we going to have an argument
he
here?
He was in the 70s.
I mean, he
and
started with Black Sabbath.
Right, with Black
Yeah,
Sabbath.
and
in the 70s.
those early Ozzy days, dude, amazing.
I like the after Ozzy days.
The 80s to 90s, music was gay.
I'm sorry.
No,
All
you're
I know-
smoking
You're
crack.
gay because
Wait, we're gonna get banned for saying this. Stop. Jeez, you can't say
I'm
gay.
literally just
you may be
antag-
talking about pop culture.
I'm antagonizing
the
right
pop
now.
music. Yeah, I can get behind you on that one.
Yeah.
80s hair
Tears for
band
Queers?
is the oh my gosh, Byron.
Tears for
80s hair band was amazing.
Well, I mean, I get that.
Shout.
that ain't that's not rock.
That was
Yeah.
that was pop music.
No, I'm just messing.
But anyway.
around. Def Leppard, they were awesome. Motley Crue, that was awesome. I will say
good.
their
He got
drab-
me. He just gaslighted
I did
me.
gaslit you,
Yeah,
but
he
good
did.
one. It's your fault,
He's good at
Myron.
that.
their drab was really lame though. The tight.
Well, I think a lot of those that
Leather.
went through that gimmicky stage, which Poison, no,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
couldn't. I mean, it was just the whole the tights, the hair, the makeup.
The guys, makeup. It's like, dude, Kiss.
It's like just stop.
come on, quit, stop.
Yeah.
So it was
Anyway,
it was a breath of fresh air that 90s grunge rock because
yeah, you had Soundgarden,
you have Nirvana. One of my
Eddie
favorite
Vedder.
Pearl Jam.
Pearl
One of my
Jam.
favorite bands still to this date is, well, I love Tool, but 9 Inch Nails. I love 9 Inch Nails. Just great. Just great music to me. Yeah, it's about the emotion. It's about, yeah.
You also like country music though, so
Well, yeah, he's out. I think he likes all.
he has morphed into
Yeah, I was like you.
because of me.
Hated
Because I
it.
listened to
Oh,
a little
really?
bit
You
of
morphed?
everything.
I morphed into country, dude, later in
Because I
life.
started playing it in the car with
Because
him all the
country music
time.
sucks
I
too.
would kill you.
Yeah, it sucks too. It's, especially like the early country of the 2000s. It was all like trucks and beer and blah, blah, blah. But I feel like
cheeks.
I feel like it's slowly, the old country is slowly, it's coming
You talking
back.
about Merle Haggard?
Outlaw.
If you listen to a lot
Waylon
of the newer
Jennings.
artists out there right now, a lot of it has like
the
old
country that's been
feel.
coming out in the last couple of years has been really good. You guys should.
Jason
probably
Aldean?
Nope.
You would
But
probably
you have to
like
like
it. No, I
country
wouldn't.
though, yeah.
Well, because
she
it's
doesn't
not.
like country.
It's not the lame country though.
What
But
about
she might not like the
Jason
old country
Aldean?
either.
Huh?
She might not like the old country either.
Well, she didn't like the Waylon and the she didn't like all that.
You didn't
either.
like Waylon
She didn't
Willie
like
and
the
the
Merle
boys?
Haggard.
No. The closest to country I ever listened to
Well,
is
I got
the Eagles.
Oh yeah,
Leonard Skinner. That's country enough for
That's
me.
Southern rock.
That's
Flew
leaning. Yeah,
into
that's
a
leaning
burning
into
ring of fire.
burning ring of fire. We just lost half our audience
It's all right. It's all
at the
right.
beginning of the show.
It's okay. Skip forward to.
Well, skip forward to 2005.
10
Yeah,
minutes
if
in.
you don't like, it's too late. They can't skip forward. They've had to get through this.
Listen to.
The reason we're talking about Kurt Cobain and getting to the bottom of it is his death.
Yeah, he died.
Which didn't happen by chance.
Which
Or by
let's talk about the official story, since we're all about the official
suicide.
story.
Yeah.
And most of my notes and resource material that you're going to hear is from a documentary called Soaked in Bleach. So if you want to know what I'm talking about and you want to go back and watch, what is Byron talking about? The documentary will explain things a lot better than I'm going to say.
Yeah.
So the only reason you're here is because you like my voice.
I think that's.
And you
most
like,
of it.
there's that sound.
Yep, it's my
It's
feet.
she farted.
That's a skinwalker.
It's my feet and I'm farting. at
So
the same
here
time.
is the
Gross.
official. Oh, also it's from case files and audio recordings from private investigator Tom Grant. So most everything we're going to talk about. So the official story is modern rock icon Kurt Cobain died by suicide on April 5th, 1994. His body was discovered inside his home in Seattle, Washington, 3 days later by Gary Smith, an electrician who was installing a security system in the house. I got questions about that. We'll get to that later.
Put a pin in that one.
Yeah, put a pin in that electrician, because as I watched and did research for this, I got questions about that.
Yeah.
Because they didn't answer it. The
Yeah.
questions in my mind, they didn't answer it.
Like, how do you install a?
Well, what are you doing
Or
there?
how do you,
You
not
didn't-
call the police right
you-
away? Why do you call your boss?
Yeah.
Like, what was going
Yeah.
on with that? And then the boss instead still didn't call police. He called
Yeah, my
TMZ or
yeah,
whatever.
my, right.
I was like, what
Yeah,
the
my
heck?
question. Well, I'll go ahead and say it. My question was, what were you doing there? You didn't even talk about a work order.
Mm-mm.
Who called you? You didn't mention that. Who called you?
He was
Who
living in that
hired
house
you?
at the time. I thought he was dead for like.
I'll read to you what is stated on the documentary, and it will not make sense to you.
Mhm.
So anyway,
This is from Tom Holland's uncle.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good one. I didn't know I had an uncle. All right, so here's the deal. Everybody
You're
knows
thinking your
that
joke is so funny.
It is.
Kurt died by suicide. That's the official story.
Yes.
Now I'll just go ahead and tell you, I don't believe it.
Really?
Right.
Wow.
Well, and when we get to it, I'm gonna lay down and we're gonna try to simulate how this suicide was supposed to happen. And you tell me
Yeah, I don't
how
believe
I
he
could
died
have
by
how I
suicide
could have
either.
done it, and if somebody else was in the room, how they could have done it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Suicide how?
With a shotgun.
Okay.
Should we start at like who is Kurt? Where was he born? His
Do you?
parents?
So I'm going to start where Courtney Love hired Tom Grant. So if you want to do a backstory on Kurt
Give us some back.
and his childhood, go ahead.
I was just gonna say he was a normal kid. He had two parents, and he will say this in interviews that he like things started to go downhill for him a lot when he witnessed his parents divorcing. He said he was never the same after that. He was getting into a lot of trouble.
He was young. He was like 7.
he said he had a really estranged relationship with his dad. His dad just completely like didn't pay him any mind after the divorce. Got remarried, which most people do, but it was just different. He had always had a strained relationship. He said he had stomach issues shortly after that. And then that's where I think at one point he ran away from home as a teenager, and that's where he started heroin.
Yeah.
So he was starting heroin at a very young age.
I've never had a desire for heroin.
But he always had a close relationship with his mom. He came home, he admitted like, this is what I'm dealing with, and
So he lived with mom his entire life after.
yeah, his
that.
mom got full custody of
Okay.
him.
After he lived with his dad for a season.
Yeah.
And Dad was a loser?
Yeah, he sucked, I guess.
Well, he wasn't.
Well, he was trying to hold it together.
His dad was the normal guy that, gets a divorce and remarries and then tries to focus on his new family.
Oh, instead of the kid.
Yeah, I think that's what happens. A lot of.
Sure. Yeah. You just told the story.
Well,
the
and
story
his dad
of like
was
what
old
really
school.
What starts.
His dad was old school. Like, for instance, he talked about, like, when kids would spill something,
Yeah, he would just straight up.
Yeah.
Get
idiot, stupid. Why would you, that kind of thing.
And he was sensitive to that. I think some kids are more sensitive to that than other kids.
I know I am.
I don't think any kid should be yelled at like that, but I think it affects different kids differently if they are more sensitive.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I know when I spill stuff, I'm terrified.
Yeah.
That somebody's about to
No,
backhand me.
but for real.
Even now.
To this day, yeah.
Susan's about to come in and just...
I've done that before.
She has.
No, but for real, I mean, some people have parents.
Yeah.
I'm not going to mention any names, but where their parent...
I think everybody has a parent somewhere.
Beats them down.
Yeah.
But I mean, beats them down and tells them how stupid they are. And,
they
don't,
unnecessary.
They can't get past that.
They are reactive.
Yeah. They can't. I mean, it's like they
don't have emotional intelligence.
Right. And they identify
good word.
as a loser and beat down. But he was very positive as a kid. He was like very like, I can be the president if I want to.
Yeah. He said his mom was a big part of that. He said his mom.
Well, and his aunt too.
Yeah, his aunt was the one that got him started in bands and art and music and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was it? What was the first? And I was joking earlier about the Skinwalker, but what was the name of the first band?
Fecal Matter.
Fecal Matter.
Yeah. What
and you know what?
Name.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to talk about, unless somebody has it in their notes, I don't know how Dave Grohl and the bassist came in the picture with
Dave Grohl was
because
the drummer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a drummer previously to Dave Grohl that I know about, and they pretty much kicked him off and then hired Dave Grohl later on in Nirvana.
Yeah, I think they said they went through like 5 drummers before they landed there.
Dave Grohl, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. And the bassist, I guess that was a longtime friend.
And Dave Grohl is the lead singer of the Foo Fighters.
Yeah, the Foo Foos.
Dude, I can't stand that band.
You don't like it? You don't?
Foo Fighters are terrible.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Not a fan.
That's
their
kind of...
music
I
is
like
boring.
the Foo Fighters.
That's kind of shocking to me
I like some of their
really?
music.
some of their stuff is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, their music is so simplistic. From what I've heard, I'm not a musician. Yeah. But it's just boring. I've never
I don't know what
It's
song
not
it
your
is.
bread and butter.
Yeah.
There is
Some
one
people
song.
make
There
that
is one song. It's a video, and he's in an airplane hangar,
Yeah.
and it's rocking.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I got.
I like some of their music. Dominic had a little onesie.
Yeah,
that
I'm
had
really
Foo
not a
Fighters
Foo
on.
Fighter. I mean, I'm like you. I'm not a huge fan, but from the little bit I heard, so I don't have a bad taste. Maybe you've heard. Maybe you have heard more than me.
I've heard a bunch of their music. I just am not a fan.
You're like, wow, get that off my playlist.
It's not grungy enough, dude. I like that raw. That's why I like Nirvana. That raw like music.
Yeah,
You know.
that's why you like Adam Young from Owl City.
Oh, dude.
It's just.
Yes.
I was going to send you a off topic. He wrote this huge post about how Jesus has affected his life.
Well, heck yeah, dude.
I mean, it is incredible. And I was like, see, Joey needs to like this guy.
I like him already.
Just because he's a Christian doesn't mean you don't like his music.
Well, I'm just kidding.
He's a good guy, and we like him because he loves Jesus, but
Yeah.
his music sucks.
I like Owl City. I'm sorry.
Well, see, I'm
That's
a
all right.
rocker.
You guys
but-
also like
About
80s
Owl
hair
City,
bands,
how you
too.
feel
Yeah.
about country music, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I can't do Owl
Fireflies.
City. Maybe because it was burned into my head. When the
10
Fireflies
million
came out, we were a
fireflies.
teenager, and that's all that was on the radio. Every 5 minutes, yeah.
Oh, there was a riff. I remember there was a riff in our school between the people who liked Owl City and the people who didn't.
Oh, no.
And I remember the kids that liked Owl City, you would always find them picking their nose,
Oh, just
scratching their
be
butt,
Eating their boogers.
eating their boogers.
Gosh.
Like coloring on the wall.
I
with their
feel like
poop.
I got a pass because I moved past that stage.
Right.
Too far.
Yeah.
They're the ones that would go into the school and write in the bathroom like, I'm gonna bomb them.
I'm going to bomb what?
These are Owl City fans, folks.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm just kidding.
I feel like I get a pass because I'm beyond that.
I'm just kidding. That's terrible.
Totally kidding.
You mean because we're older? We
Yeah.
liked him when we
Our
were older.
dark,
Yeah.
Right.
Our
Yeah.
dark humor.
The only reason I like him is because he did everything in his basement.
Because
Just
he's
one
talented.
guy.
He's a talented
I just think
human.
that's impressive.
Yeah.
I would call that a nerd.
Well, sure.
Yeah, he didn't get out
all
much.
artists
I mean-
are nerds, though.
I'm
Yeah.
just kidding.
You have to have
We just lost our audience
weird
again.
artistic brain. Just
Okay,
to be
let's
a
pick this.
conspiracy theorist.
This one might
I
actually
feel
be
like.
worse than big tech.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Yeah, it's not gonna make it. Let's pick it up right here. We're talking about the death of the suicide. Courtney Love, which is Kurt Cobain's wife. I'm not sure how long they were married at this point in 1994. But she hired
I know.
Tom. You do?
Man, I got so much stuff.
Okay.
Insane.
She hired Tom Grant. Tom Grant is a private investigator.
Is that Alan Grant's brother?
Probably so. He's a
Yeah,
paleontologist.
his brother was big on dinosaurs.
Yeah, absolutely. That's, the missing bones. So Kurt Cobain went missing, and she hired Tom to find Kurt Cobain. So April 3rd, 1994, let's go back. Let's do some timeline here. It was Easter Sunday, 5 days before Kurt's death. Courtney calls Tom, and they meet at the Peninsula Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the first thing she said to Tom, if you leak any of this, what I'm doing to the press, I will sue the perp out of you. Okay? And she stated that Kurt came out of rehab a couple of days ago.
Mm-hmm.
This is what she's telling Tom. Tom, my husband's missing. He came out of rehab. He bought a ticket back to Seattle, but nobody's seen him. I don't know where he's at. Go find him for me, and I'll pay you. So Tom stated most of the time that he met with Courtney, she was strung out on drugs, wearing little to nothing, see-through negligee.
They're both doing heroin together.
Yeah. And he also mentioned that every time he went to visit her, it seemed like it was a rehab house, but everybody in there was doing heroin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's like, we're here to get clean.
Yeah, we're here to get clean. Give me that needle, by the
Give
way.
me a bump.
Is it clean?
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
I imagine in the dictionary, beside the word skank,
Oh, no.
is her picture.
Okay.
Like,
she just said it right
was
there.
She was a shady woman.
She just looks so.
I mean, she cheated on her Smashing Pumpkins boyfriend with Kurt.
Wait a minute.
She cheated.
Let's go
on
to the
him.
press with that.
That's
What?
That's how they started the relationship. Was she cheated on him with Kurt, and then they got together.
Okay.
Really?
So she was a cheater.
You like the
She
Pumpkins?
started out as a cheater.
I
Starting
did
out
like the
strong.
Pumpkins.
Were they grunge?
The world is a vampire. Yeah. it's
They're
good stuff.
grungy?
They're grungy.
So were they
And then they
before
got
Kurt or
engaged
after?
she got pregnant.
I don't know the timeline. I do like them.
What was that?
Okay.
That was
His
my foot.
Oh, okay.
We're hearing all
Skinwalker.
types
Oh,
of
is
things.
Skinwalker
lately.
coming in? Okay,
safe
so
market.
here's the deal. She kept mentioning to Tom Grant,
Uh-huh.
Kurt is suicidal.
Mhm.
Everybody thinks he's going to commit suicide. So that's she kept trying to convince Tom he's suicidal.
I mean, he could have been. Maybe.
Well, I mean, according to everybody else, he wasn't.
Yeah.
Only Courtney.
His closest friends.
His
everyone
closest
was
friends,
dude,
like-
this guy's not.
He's not suicidal.
He's not suicidal. Yeah, he's got the best outlook on life. What are you talking about?
See, I hear what you're saying.
What are you saying?
But I listened to videotapes.
Oh, no.
Or audio tapes of him talking about when he was a teenager. He became
was suicidal
friends.
as a teenager.
Yeah, he
Mhm.
became friends with this gay dude,
Mhm.
and like
Everyone
everybody,
called him gay.
yeah,
No,
everybody
not the
thought he was
gays.
gay and stuff. And he said his gay friend was like literally the only person that kept him from killing himself.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So,
So,
you're talking about young.
yeah.
My parents are divorced.
Yeah.
I really don't have a good outlook.
Well, he was 7 when they got a divorce, so this is teenage years. So we're looking at maybe 10 years or whatever. But
So are you saying he was suicidal?
absolutely.
He tried to kill himself
In
on the train
94?
tracks. That's
Yeah.
what got him into heroin shortly after.
Yeah.
Then why would everybody else say he wasn't?
I
All his
don't know.
closest friends.
Maybe
So who's
at that
telling the
time in
truth?
his life he wasn't suicidal. I mean, that's a long difference in time.
Yeah.
So maybe at that time, now that he's famous, he wasn't suicidal.
Yeah, he had a
anymore.
better outlook, maybe.
I don't know. But
Like,
I
I'm
don't-
going to make it now.
I don't feel like you can be doing hard
I've sold
drugs like
millions of
heroin
records.
and not be messed up in the brain in some
That's
way
true.
as far as like your quality of life and how you view
That is
yourself.
true. So he wanted to kill himself on a train track?
He attempted to.
He tried. I think he laid
But the
down
train
on
went the other direction.
Yeah, the train like went beside him, like he was on the wrong track, and
He was
the
on
train
the wrong track, yeah.
Yeah, went on a different track. Yeah.
Now, he did say when he would write some lyrics that people interpreted as, oh, you see, he's suicidal. When somebody would mention that, he was like, no, I just came up with that because I had to. I was like in a crunch. And then people overanalyze stuff.
I feel like people
I don't really
overanalyze
feel
his
like that.
songs all the time.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Like
People,
the rape me thing.
yeah, he said, I'm just making stuff up to get this record out.
There was like I think some men that actually did rape
Yeah.
women, and it was like to his song "Rape Me."
Jeez.
And they were like, "This is the song for it." And I guess he went out and publicly said like, "No, it's not.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's not what it meant."
Okay. So here's the deal. Tom Grant, the private investigator, noted that from the first time he met Courtney, he felt like she was lying to him. He just got a feeling about every time she talks to me, I feel like she's not being on the up and up. Something's off. But he was like, hey, money's money. I'll find your dude. So on April 4th, 1994, he met with Courtney again, and she stated that she called the credit card company, and they told her that Kurt had bought 2 tickets on United Airlines, but wasn't sure the ticket's destination. She mentioned that she thought Kurt wanted a divorce due to a note he left her in Rome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
When they were in Rome, was that when he had that overdose in the coma?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's something...
That happened before she got met with Tom Grant, correct?
Yeah. That was something that happened in Rome, and I'm going to mention that too, which that was a little iffy too.
Yeah.
That whole thing with Rome, because they said...
There was tranquilizer or something.
Yeah, they just made
tranquilizer
stuff up that he was trying to, and he's like, no, I wasn't trying to commit suicide. Anyway.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe she knew his history and she used that as, yes, he's suicidal. He wants to commit suicide.
She was setting up the story.
Yeah.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
What else we got here? Oh, she thought that Kurt was having an affair with Kristen Paloff, her bassist in her band. And she had a band called Hole.
That's what she is.
Or is it Garbage? Which one was it? Do you remember her band name? Was it Hole or Garbage?
I don't know.
Maybe it's Garbage Hole.
I feel like she was in a couple different ones.
Garbage Hole. Anyway,
maybe it was. Maybe the band's name was Hole, but her music was Garbage,
and it was a garbage hole.
Yeah.
Anyway, she had a band, and the bassist in the band the name was Kristen Paloff, and also Caitlin was her drug dealer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, buddy.
So she thought that Kurt was having an affair with these people. Okay, she mentioned that she wanted to go to the press. This is what she told Tom. I want to go to the press and make up a story that Courtney Love OD'd so that I could get in the hospital, thinking that if this got leaked to the press, Kurt would come out from hiding and visit her in the hospital. This was her brilliant plan.
Wow. Okay.
Kurt was like, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think you should do that.
You said Tom?
Tom?
Yeah, that's what I was.
Uh-huh.
Kurt. Kurt's not in the story.
Alan's bro.
So Courtney proceeded, and this is interesting. She filed a missing persons report with the Seattle police under the name of Wendy O'Connor, which is Kurt's mother. That's interesting.
Huh.
Was that after he left the rehab facility?
Yeah. So this is the timeline is Kurt. I know he got on a plane back to Seattle. He's leaving the rehab. I don't know where he's at. He hasn't showed up. So now I'm doing a missing persons report for Kurt. So it's almost like I'm setting up this narrative.
Yeah, she was setting up the narrative the whole time.
I'm setting up this narrative because here's the deal. April 4th, according to the official story, he died on April 5th. His body wasn't discovered on April 5th, but he died on April 5th. She's meeting with Tom on April 3rd and the 4th. Okay. And Courtney told Tom that Kurt liked to stay at fancy hotels under the name Bill Bailey. So he started calling all the fancy hotels and all the, searching for somebody with Bill Bailey. And he didn't find anywhere at the fancy ones. So he started calling smaller motels. And then he found somebody that was registered staying there at this motel under the name Bill Bailey. So he's like, okay, we'll stop. He calls Courtney and, hey, I found somebody at this hotel, Bill Bailey. Courtney says, and he's like, I'm going to send somebody over and confirm he's there. And Courtney says, no, do not send anybody over because I don't want Kurt to think I'm looking for him.
How would he know? It's a private investigator.
What? Don't go over there. Just don't.
Let me just give you the name of where he might be. Don't go over there.
Don't go over there.
Don't do your job.
I don't want Kurt to think that I'm looking for. What does that have to do with anything?
And it was really Bill Bailey.
Well, it could have been. Yeah, it was real Bill Bailey.
It was actually a Bill Bailey.
A businessman that had to stay over one night, and his name was Bill Bailey.
Billy Boy.
Yeah.
Okay. She also, Tom mentioned to Courtney, hey, I want to put surveillance on your house just in case he might show up. And she said, no, I don't want surveillance on my house because she said, Callie's there. And I'll tell you who Callie is. Callie, his real name is Michael DeWitt. He was a live-in nanny for Courtney and Kurt's baby. Their baby's called Frances Bean.
It's a cute name.
Okay. So Callie took care of the baby and lived in Courtney's house with the baby. And she said, don't put surveillance on my house. Callie's there. And if Kurt showed up, Callie will tell me if he shows up. Callie will show me. Okay. Callie was also a longtime friend and former boyfriend of Courtney Love.
Of course. Okay.
I didn't know that. So you're having your longtime ex-boyfriend watch your child.
Yeah.
So weird. Very progressive to have a Manny.
Yeah,
and a Manny.
Yeah, the Manny. So let's go to Wednesday, April 6th, 1994. Tom Grant. He was leaving for Seattle to search for Kurt, and Courtney told Tom about Kurt's best friend, Dylan Carlson.
Which he had bought a gun with.
Yeah. Right. He bought a gun with Dylan, and they put it in Dylan's name.
Because he couldn't buy one himself.
So they got with Dylan, and she said, Dylan knows about all the hangout spots Kurt would go to, so I think you should take him with you. So Tom reached out to Dylan before his flight to Seattle, and he asked, is Kurt suicidal? Do you think he's suicidal? And he said no, but he wasn't sure why Kurt married Courtney. That's what Dylan said.
I agree with Dylan.
And he said the one thing that happened in Rome was an accident. That was an accident that happened in Rome. And speaking of that, on March 4th, let's rewind, 1994, Cobain was hospitalized in Rome following an overdose of
alcohol.
I don't even know how to say that.
Where's it at?
Benzodiazepine and alcohol.
Benzodiazepines.
Thank you. So there was an overdose of that stuff. So his management agency, Gold Mountain Records, said the overdose was accidental and he suffered from influenza and fatigue. Okay. So that was a thing in Rome. Dylan confirmed that Kurt had bought a shotgun the day he got out of rehab due to there was a burglary at the house. So they were like, hey, let's get a weapon. I don't feel safe. Let's get a gun. So he bought the gun, but he put it in Dylan's name.
Yeah.
So it was registered to Dylan.
Yeah, he couldn't buy one himself.
Right.
Why?
Because of, I believe.
Yeah, there was.
Oh, I can't remember the exact logistics.
There was a reason.
But there was a reason.
Suicidal?
Maybe it had to do from rehab.
I think so. Something to do with you can't buy a weapon.
Yeah.
So, and also it was mentioned, and we mentioned earlier, no one near him thought he was suicidal. He had no tendencies for suicide. Courtney was the only one close to him who kept stating that he was suicidal. And after they found his body, she kept amping this narrative up. So let's go to Thursday, April 7th, 1994, one day before they found Kurt. Dylan Carlson and Tom went to Seattle together. When Tom informed Dylan what Courtney said about Kurt loving fancy hotels, Dylan laughed and said that's ridiculous. He hates anything that's fancy. Dylan would always call Courtney and update Tom as they were going throughout the city. So they would stop for gas. He would get on a payphone and call Courtney. Hey, here's what's going on. And they would check in, and then Courtney would report through Dylan back to Tom. So this particular day, April 7th, Dylan went back to Tom and said, hey, Courtney has been arrested and admitted to a hospital, and we want you to go inside the house and look for the shotgun that they had bought. And she said it's hidden in a compartment in the closet at the house. Okay, April 7th. They got to the house and they found a note on the stairs written by Callie, but the note did not make sense when Tom read it. Because it said, quote, Kurt, I can't believe you managed to be in this house without noticing me. You're an effing a-hole for not calling Courtney and at least letting her know you're okay. She's in a lot of pain, Kurt.
It's like a letter exactly written by a woman. That's mad.
And this morning, she had another accident, and now she's in the hospital again. She's your wife. She loves you, and you have a child together. Get it together to at least tell her you're okay, or she's going to die. It's not fair, man. Do something now.
No.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely written by a
That
guy.
was the note just laid out on the stairs that Tom read it and then put it back where it was. They went upstairs, looked in the hidden compartment. There was no shotgun. Now, let's bring in Rosemary Carroll. She was a close friend of Kurt and Courtney, and she was also their attorney.
Yes.
When Tom informs Rosemary about the letter from Callie, she states that she thought Callie wrote the letter because he knew Kurt was already dead.
And she also found a practice sheet of Kurt Cobain's handwriting in a backpack, too.
That's correct. There was a practice, yeah. And that's how they actually could find out if the letter was forged or not, because it didn't match up with a lot of those writings that was in his his backpack. So Dylan Carlson and Tom entered Kurt's home. They had to go through a window that night looking for the shotgun. Now here's what's strange. And I'll probably get into this in a minute. When they looked for the shotgun and they found the note from Callie, this is the house where Kurt's body was already upstairs, dead.
Yeah, in the greenhouse.
In the greenhouse.
Yeah.
Dylan knew about the greenhouse. He knew there was a place in this house called the greenhouse. He didn't take Tom there. Tom didn't search through I don't know why Tom didn't search through the house. To me, that's kind of, I don't know why. As a private investigator, I'd have went through all the house.
Yeah.
Not just searching for the shotgun.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it was, so they talked about that on the documentary, that the greenhouse was detached from the house.
Yeah,
and
it
it
was
was
a
not
separate part.
easily seen.
Yeah, it was.
Night.
It will show you, too, of people that have actually gone to, like, the back of the house before. Not actually entered, but, like,
Yeah,
what
it was kind of above
Yeah.
the normal house. And it was in a room, kind of almost like a closet.
Yeah, exactly. But there was also reports of like 5 or 6 other people that went by the property and didn't see his body either, even before Tom Grant. It was that electrician that was like up there trying to do wiring or something. I don't know. So
let's move to Friday, April 8th, 1994. This is the day they discovered his body. So here's what's weird to me. Bruce William, he's the supervisor for Veca Electric. He stated he got a phone call from Gary Smith. Now, Gary Smith is the guy that found Kurt's body. He was one of his electricians. So this phone call is a record of, it's real. What he said in the documentary said one of his electricians who was doing some security lighting for a house that belonged to a rock star in Seattle, he wasn't sure who this person was. He looked through a window pane door and he saw the body. And he told Bruce, his supervisor, I think he shot himself. So they don't go into this in the documentary. And I don't know if anybody has researched this. What work doing some security lighting for a house. Who hired this security company to do security lighting?
Yeah. Well, maybe it was like
that's what I don't know.
Maybe it was like our guys that come here and blow out our system. They come whenever.
Or maybe it's just.
Oh, you mean like a quarterly call?
Yeah, just to redo the lighting or check on the lighting, change the light bulb. Who knows?
No, it said he was doing some security lighting for a house.
Right. So maybe he was just changing light bulbs that went out or something.
It was just procedure.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of sus
Fishy.
to me.
I mean, yeah, it is.
I feel like there would be an invoice or somebody hired somebody, but you're saying
maybe there is an invoice. Maybe that's why they haven't like dug deep into that specific thing. Maybe that one's like a.
Well, because nobody believes that they don't believe that he was murdered. So it's
they
like,
don't dig.
Why are we digging and investigating? Just conspiracy nuts like you guys.
Yeah. No, it is not. Wait till you hear from the Seattle Police Department.
Okay, let's go.
And their neglect. Just ridiculous. Okay, so he goes up. He's like, I got a work order. Going to go install some lights. So he actually walks up the hill to where the greenhouse was because there was an exit that you could leave the house from the greenhouse.
Yeah.
So he walks up. The door is locked. Now, how does he know the door is locked? I guess so that's weird.
Why'd you?
I guess maybe you saw the body and then tried the door.
Right.
Okay. I'll give you that. But he looked through the glass and saw Kurt's body. And here's what he described. Oh, actually, here's this is what you're talking about, Kayla. Bruce calls the radio station.
Oh, yeah.
What? Yeah. Why are you calling the radio station and told them what happened? Actually, the DJ at the time that took the call, Marty Riemer at the station, took the call and told Bruce. Oh, and Bruce told them what Gary had witnessed. So you got Gary's on the scene. Bruce's supervisor. He calls his supervisor. Hey, there's a body up here. I'm supposed to do some light. Bruce gets off the phone with Gary, calls a radio station. Hey, here's what my electrician just found. Why are you calling a radio station?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Why didn't you call the police?
I mean, it's a dead body. It's not like just something small, like someone's dead.
Maybe he did that because it was the, quote, rock star.
Mm-hmm.
And he's trying to get some kind of kudos.
When you think of a dead body and you're the one that found it, I think of like automatically people thinking I killed the person.
Right. Well, sure, yeah, that's that. Your number one suspect right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, who called the police?
You don't call the news or the radio.
All right, so that was weird right there. So, but from there, I think it's probably spiraled because the DJ is going to confirm this, and then it's going to go crazy, especially because it's Kurt Cobain. So, Tom and Dylan. So let's go back to Tom and Dylan. They're on the road looking for. So they already left the house. They were there the night before looking for the shotgun. Kurt's dead upstairs. We leave the house. So they're heading out to the town of Carnation, just outside of Seattle, to check.
Well, that would mean, hang on one second. That would mean that Callie was there too.
Right. He left the note on the steps.
Yeah. So Callie
Where's
was there.
Callie?
And supposedly their kid?
Yeah, where's the kid?
Where's the kids?
Where are you taking care of my kid?
So Kurt somehow missed Callie, climbed up there, went into the greenhouse, blew his brains out. Callie didn't know about it. Wrote a note. Screw you, man.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Kurt had time to write a suicide note, put a pin in it in a plant bucket.
And then Courtney says, go over there and look for the shotgun. It's almost like Courtney wanted them to find.
Right, exactly.
Find him.
Find the narrative that she set up.
Yeah.
And find him.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because as we'll go, we'll find motive. There is motive here.
Okay. Yeah. It's called money.
Yeah.
Tom, right.
Every time.
Cheddar.
Yeah, so Tom and Dylan were heading out to the town of Carnation. Because Kurt, they had owned two cabins. They had two cabins. They were halfway there. They stopped for gas. Dylan made a phone call to Tom, assuming that it was... I'm sorry. He made a phone call. Tom assumed that he was calling, because that's all he did. He called Courtney and get updates. So he wasn't sure if that was the call to Courtney or not. But Dylan got back in the car and told Tom that a friend of Dylan's, so obviously he called his friend, a friend of Dylan's said that they just heard they found Kurt's body at Kurt's house. Tom turned on the radio and it was being announced over the air that Kurt Cobain was dead.
3 days after he had died.
Yeah. So when Tom heard the announcer state they had found Kurt in the greenhouse, he asked Dylan, "What is that?" And Dylan said, "It's a dirty room above the garage." So Dylan knew about it. They were in the house the night before.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
That's kind of sus on Dylan's part. All right. Here's John Fisk. He's a paramedic. He was the first to open the door to
Is he related to Wilson Fisk?
He is.
Okay.
And which is the kingpin, if anybody knew that.
I just feel like Tom feels like he's got to feel like an idiot. I mean, what kind of freaking investigator? I mean, what kind of investigator are you?
He did.
Yeah.
He did feel. Yeah.
Yeah.
He did feel like an idiot for that.
Tom.
It's all right, Tom. I believe you, Tom.
So
Grant.
a paramedic from the Seattle Fire Department, he was the first one in the room. All right, so here's the deal. Here's the scene. Shotgun is in the lap with a significant amount of blood by the head. When Tom drove back to the house, he could see the greenhouse. It was tall and it stuck out, and he wondered why Dylan did not point this room out to him when they were there the night before. So when Tom got to the crime scene, he made his presence known to the police that were on the scene. And he stated, "Hey, I've been involved in tracking down Kurt because as a missing persons." But the lead detective there on the scene was not interested. He just waved him off like it was nothing. Now, here's the deal. So let me set the scene. So you go into the room. Kurt's laying on the ground. Shotgun is laying between his legs on his lap.
Yeah.
Laying on his stomach. His left hand is gripping the barrel. His right hand is beside him. And the shotgun is upside down.
Yeah, with the trigger away from him.
Meaning it's upside down. So the trigger, is away from his body. So picture it like if I had my thumb, I reach down and I could pull the trigger and it's upside down. Okay, that's the scene.
Why would he shoot himself that way?
Well, Tom Grant says that the Remington 20 gauge shotgun would not have been able to be on Cobain's mouth and still be able to pull the trigger. That's what Tom Grant says to this day.
Why? Why did he say that?
Something about how long the barrel of the shotgun is and being able to reach it. I don't know.
Oh, because he would have to, since he's in a sitting position.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm thinking if it was sitting, you'd have to. You got to get your finger down. You got to get your thumb down there and pull that.
Yeah, the length of the barrel.
Yeah.
And he says there's no way he would have been able to do that with the amount of heroin that was found in his system. Like there was 3 times the amount of heroin found in his system.
Yeah.
They found him. And that was after 3 days of being dead.
3 times the amount to kill somebody.
To kill someone, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I'm about to get into some pathology here from...
you got some signs,
one of the doctors, yeah. So, here's Dr. Cecil Weicht. He's a forensics pathologist.
What part of that is Cecil?
Cyril. I just read over it.
DARP.
Cyril. Well, Cecil sounds better.
Cecil.
Anyway, this doctor, he's a forensics pathologist.
We got to get our wives off the show.
Yeah.
Did you read Curl earlier?
We did.
Instead of Kurt?
Our reading is much better.
Dude,
when we're not here.
I feel like I'm under like a fine-tooth comb right now.
You like it.
Okay. This doctor, he's a pathologist, forensics. He's been involved in over 18,000 autopsies.
What is a pathologist?
It's
study of what?
Blood.
Yeah, blood.
Okay, good to know. I was hoping to try.
And forensics.
Didn't work.
And paths.
Yeah, he studies paths.
He stated that the police work done on this case was not protocol. You have to do a death investigation, not assume from a visual account to determine the cause of death.
Yeah.
So Seattle police determined based on what they saw in the room that this was a suicide, and that's the story they went with, instead of trying to find out what the cause of death was. And he's saying you can't do that. You have to find out the cause of death, not from the scene.
Well,
from physical, from evidence
point of view. Of
yes,
evidence.
Yeah, because when you have a mental paradigm, the outcome of the evidence that you find is going to lead you to that mental paradigm. So whenever people investigating murders, they have to go into it completely blind. They can't allow themselves to look at it without studying the facts first. Anyway, continue on.
What I was going to say is, what?
I was just saying,
She's roasting me.
Oh, Tom. So Tom does not believe that the police were involved in the conspiracy. They just thought they were just dumb.
They're just dumpers.
And they felt like that Courtney set them up, like with the missing persons report, saying that he was suicidal. She felt like the narrative, they just went with her, and that's what unfolded.
Well, because that's what it looked like. When you walked in, that's what it looked like.
Yeah, because there were police reports that were inconsistent. Like they were saying that there was a stool that was wedged against the door, that he barricaded himself. But Wilson Fisk's son, John Fisk, first on the scene said there was no stool at the door. There was nothing
it was
like
away
that.
from the door. Yeah. And
the lead detective told Tom that they don't develop crime scene photos of suicides. Because he's like, what, suicide? Why would we do that?
Why would we waste
Why would we waste that? But since this was, I think 2015 this came out, but since then they have released death scene photos of the crime scene.
Not all of them, though.
Not all of them. Some of them.
It's came out. The FBI has reopened the case as like an undisclosed death or whatever.
Are you serious?
Yeah. In the last, I think it was last year.
Oh, really?
2022 or 2023.
They finally reopened it?
They reopened it and said it was like an undetermined death now.
Oh, wow.
Oh, dude.
All right, check this out. So Detective Kirtland from Seattle PD stated to Tom, now this is just negligence. The detective told Tom that if a patrol officer thinks it's a suicide and feels good about it, then it's good enough for him.
Yeah.
What?
And this is not hearsay,
This is a
by
patrol
the way.
officer.
This is Tom Grant would literally record on the
everything.
documentary. This is, you can hear the guy's voice telling him on a recorded line these exact words. Anyway, continue on.
Yeah. So through their negligent death investigation, this is what allowed Courtney to do this. Kurt Cobain was cremated 6 days after discovery. They waited 30 days to process shotgun for fingerprints. Now which
was never found. They never found any fingerprints on that gun.
Yeah, and I don't know why it said this in the documentary. It said gave Courtney Love the shotgun to have it melted down, but it was never melted down.
Okay.
Because they have showed that shotgun in pictures.
Really?
Yeah. And they also allowed the greenhouse crime scene to be torn down and destroyed. That's what.
Lord.
Yeah. So, and like Kayla mentioned, the toxicology report from Kurt indicated that his blood level was 1.52 milligrams per liter. So, get a little sciencey on you. 5 milligrams will produce 0.035. Most users, even heavy users, get up to 40 to 60 milligrams in one hit.
Yeah.
60 milligrams of heroin will produce a 0.420 in the blood. So in order to reach what was in his blood, you have to eject 225 milligrams of heroin in your body. Jeez. That's 3 times, like you mentioned, the lethal dose. And what they're saying is if somebody did that, you go unconscious.
There's no way you could pull a trigger.
Dead, man.
Yeah.
Do you have enough time?
I mean, people that inject heroin, when you inject heroin, at least from the movies that I've watched, I don't know.
Yeah, when
they go into like a state.
Yeah, they just kind of fall.
They're not getting up thinking about shooting themselves at that moment. They're in like a euphoric
Most of the time, the needle's still in the arm.
Yeah.
Just falling out.
They're having a trip. They're high as heck.
Right. They're feeling good. They ain't thinking about killing themselves.
Yeah, we have a guy that I work with that was a retired police officer, detective for 30 years. And he was telling me one story that he's like, man, I've seen a lot of dead people. I've walked in on a lot of dead people. He said, there was one in particular that's like imprinted in my brain. I said, I found this lady hanging off of the side of the bed with her head down like this. And she had the biggest smile on her face. Heroin addict. So just overdosed, but immediately hit the bloodstream, felt that high, smiled, and toast. Gone. Instant.
They say one hit.
Yeah, I wonder how much she had.
I don't know.
I mean,
probably the legal
she's dead,
amount.
right?
The girl?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was dead.
She took a heroin and died.
You're done. You're done.
So this doesn't make sense to me why the police would be so negligent seeing that much in his blood to go.
Well, they didn't know.
Right.
They just saw it. They didn't test for it.
Right.
So they just were like, well, he's a heroin addict. He popped a little heroin and
But it was 3 times the lethal dose. Why would they go ahead and conclude that this was a suicide?
They wouldn't know. They just see an empty needle. They didn't know
they
that
did
until
the report
right
came back.
after they already said it was a suicide.
What confuses
let's
me is
backtrack then.
why the double amount of killings. Like that didn't make sense. That sentence did not make sense. Why the lethal amount of heroin, but then also killing yourself?
Yeah.
Like if Courtney or whoever did kill Kurt Cobain, why not just accidentally give him that lethal dose rather than also the gun?
Why the OD?
Why not just
suicide?
Yeah, why not just OD? Maybe because they tried it in Rome and it didn't work.
Oh yeah.
What I think is theory time. The guy came over, the perpetrator, Callie, whoever. There was a skirmish. He injected him with heroin and an undisclosed amount.
I think it was Alan Wrench.
Whoever doesn't. Maybe we'll get to it. But the killer injected him.
Yeah.
Boom. We're fighting. He's got heroin. Because normally, whenever you see in the movies heroin, they got their little needle and they're like, all right. They push a little out and they're like, all right, boo.
Yeah.
Let's heat it up. He had a full thing. They're skirmishing. He subdued him with it. Heroin.
He's out.
Planted the evidence. Blasted him. Because I don't think he would have known in the heat of a battle how much he just injected in the guy. Because he was probably
right. So he wanted to make sure he was dead.
Make sure he was dead.
If the heroin didn't do it, then
the bullet.
Do you think that? Okay, so if that theory,
or Courtney had told the killer where the gun was and was like, you need to make sure that he's killed with
yeah,
this gun.
It goes along with the narrative.
Yeah, that he did kill himself with this
That's
gun
true.
that he just happened to have bought with a friend, and he was suicidal.
Even though she could have just wrote out the heroin overdose thing pretty easily too.
I feel like she was really going for that gun death.
Do you think she got somebody to do this, or because here's the motive?
I think she.
The motive is they had a prenup.
Yeah,
they had a prenup,
so,
and
if
according to Rosemary, the lawyer, it should have gone through because they were about to. They were going to get a divorce.
Yeah, and he took her out of his will too.
And he was going to take her out of his will.
Right.
But
these were all things that were known.
It didn't go through in time. So she wasn't fully out of the will yet. And then he died.
Yeah, and the only way that she could have had anything to his estate is
if they were married and
she died and they were still married.
Yeah.
Otherwise she would have only gotten half.
Yeah, she wouldn't have got nothing. Yeah, that's motive right there.
Mm-hmm. Money.
The thing I don't understand is, did you get somebody to do this for you? Because I don't see Courtney doing this.
No, she's not smart enough to do it herself.
Let's talk about what's his name? El Deuce?
El Sueño?
El Deuce.
El Deuce. Oh, I got El Deuce.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm the El Deuce.
Oh, you don't want Deuce Bigelow?
Yeah, I got the Deuce. Hold on.
European Gigolo?
Sorry, I have so much notes on El Deuce, Kurt Cobain.
Well, why are you trying to find that? Just let me know. Let's talk about real quick the muscle spasm theory.
Yeah, rheumatoid arthritis.
So, yeah.
Let's talk about gout for a little bit.
It's called Cardavic spasm. And I didn't know this until I watched this. Cardavic spasm. So at the time of death, your muscles will spasm. And
lock up.
You will be in the exact position that you are when you cease to exist. So because Kurt's hand was wrapped around the barrel of the gun, it was in that spasm. It was holding it tight. So it's upside down already.
Yeah.
What they're saying is that was the exact place of the gun, because the cops were saying, because there was so I'm laying down. There was a shotgun shell on the left side of Kurt. If the shotgun was upside down, it should have shot the shell to the right.
Yeah.
So the cops are going, no, the gun was turned over, and when he pulled the trigger, it flipped over and went upside down. Well, according to Cardavic spasm, when you grab that, the gun is not going to flip over.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to grip it. So that doesn't make any sense. The only thing I can figure out is if he did commit suicide, is the shell hit his wrist and ricocheted across the body. But I don't know, because I went through this in my mind thinking, bam, and I went back like this. I don't know how fast that would happen for that shell to pop out, and if it would graze my wrist to go over there, or if it had the force to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing is this: if it was murder, and you shot Kurt in the head with this gun, were you that sloppy to get the shell across the room? Or did you shoot it where the gun was pulled up and the shell went over there and you just twisted the gun and laid Kurt down?
Yeah.
Because if you did kill him, you could manipulate the gun however you wanted to.
Right.
Yeah.
Regardless of the grip.
And no fingerprints on the shotgun shell.
Well, you're going to wear gloves.
No fingerprints on
There's
the...
fingerprints, but they're not legible. Like,
I mean, Kurt Cobain's fingerprints.
Oh,
would
they
have
should have
been
been
on the
on,
gun
yeah, you're right.
and
They
would
should
have been on
the
the
gun.
shell.
They weren't able to figure out whose fingerprints they were. They were not. Because there's two different types of fingerprints. There's the ones that are... Sorry, I should put this in my notes. There's like a science. There's a
Let's just talk
scientific
about
term
it.
for what they are, but there's one that you can automatically know this is this person's fingerprints, and the other one's more
A smudge.
Legible
they're
and
smudged.
not.
Yeah,
Legible and
they had
illegible.
like a
It's a
scientific
scientific
term
term.
for them.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember it, and I'm failing.
Non-conclusive.
They also found Valium in his system.
What?
And some claim that Valium was slipped into the root beer found in the greenhouse, and this would have incapacitated him and made it easy to finish Kurt off. So that was also found in his system.
Okay.
Valium, which I
didn't
thought
know
was
that.
interesting.
Valium. Valium and a lethal dose.
And Benny's.
Okay.
This guy's
Valium
like-
would have put you out, right?
Yeah, Valium makes you sleepy.
Doesn't do that for me.
Okay. I don't think the lethal dose of heroin was injected by, I think they were just showing, hey, he OD'd and then he killed himself.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know, it's crazy. It doesn't make
the whole
any
thing is
sense.
sloppy, if you ask me.
Very sloppy.
If I'm going to murder somebody, there's too many signs.
And
that
if I'm
it's
going to
sloppy.
commit suicide, it's not going to look like that either. Like that one, none of that makes sense.
And then there's the suicide note.
Suicide note,
Which
is
they compared-
stupid, and was obviously seen as Courtney adding stuff to the bottom of it.
Yes.
They say that it was mostly just him disbanding, like him telling his followers and his fans that he was disbanding from the group and retiring from music. But Courtney, the way that she ended the letter, makes it seem like he was now trying to commit suicide.
Yeah.
Right.
But I did find that Eldon,
Yes.
El Deuce.
The Deuce.
In 97, there was a guy that went and did a biography on I think it was called Courtney and Kurt or something. And in there was an interview named with a guy named Eldon Hoke, or El Deuce was his name. Love it. Claimed Courtney had attempted to hire him to take out Kurt. And then the guy said the actual dude that killed Kurt Cobain was a guy named Alan Wrench. And after that guy said Alan Wrench was the one that killed Kurt Cobain, he died 8 days later.
El Deuce.
Yeah, El Deuce did. And was found decapitated in a train yard after reportedly being struck by a train going 60 miles per hour. Alan Wrench bought a house, a sports car, and a new truck after Kurt's death as well.
So this dude...
And in an interview, Alan has also said, jokingly, he's claimed he's guilty of killing Kurt.
So this
Jokingly.
dude, El Deuce...
Yeah, jokingly.
Okay, El Deuce.
He was in a band, too.
Okay.
He said that Courtney offered him $50,000 to
kill him.
Kurt. Okay, so he was a little wacky and stuff.
Yeah, when you listen to the interview, you're like,
yeah,
it seems a little off.
After he came out and said what he, all of that, 8 days later,
you end up.
He's dead on a train track. They said his toe they said fans were like, hey, El Deuce. And he turned around and his toe got stuck in the train rail.
Right.
And a train hit him.
I mean, is that just bad luck? Because that's not nefarious, right?
8 days later? Well, I mean...
Well, I mean, your toe got stuck. Who saw this?
Well, apparently some fans saw it happen.
That's just bad luck, though.
Yeah. 8 days later, he gets... My thing is...
That sounds like they paid those fans
Those
off.
fans.
Right.
Like, say you saw him.
Yeah, say his toe.
Decapitated 8 days later. I mean, I'm just saying.
I mean,
That's
who are
brutal,
these
dude.
people?
Yeah, it was in 21. I mentioned 22 or 23 earlier that the FBI released a report to say Kurt Cobain's death had been undetermined. That was in 2021.
Oh, cool.
So are they?
So
are they
it is an undetermined death.
So it's not determined suicide anymore.
No.
Crazy.
Sweet. So
Well,
there may be justice after all.
Maybe, dude. Maybe. That would be crazy though. If in our lifetime they convict
Courtney.
Yeah.
I've got
because she made
listen. I've got money.
millions.
Look, I'll say it on here. I've got it. My money is on Courtney.
So
I don't believe that Kurt killed himself. I don't believe he may have had some issues, mental issues, but I don't believe he killed himself.
No, I don't think so either.
Not with a shotgun, not the circumstances. It
No.
just doesn't add up. 3 times lethal dose of heroin.
I think he really did want to get clean. I think he was just another addict that really was trying his best.
Yep.
I mean, she made a buttload.
Yeah. It says that Frances Cobain inherited 37% of her father's estate, and she controls now publicity rights to her father's name and image.
Gee, okay.
That's the kid.
Yeah, Frances Bean.
But
Yeah.
I still think that she needs more than just 37%. My goodness.
Yeah.
Courtney still has the rest.
I'm guessing.
But since then, she's like made a name for herself
Yeah, she has.
and made a lot of money
Mm-hmm.
on top of that.
Dang.
Well, here's a quick timeline. 5:30, April 1st. He booked a flight. He left the Exodus, and all this is recorded because they actually can.
yeah.
They got the receipts on this. Go ahead.
I forgot. Tom Grant found Kurt Cobain's credit card, and that morning that Kurt had been found, someone had bought flowers with his credit card, and no one knows who.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But
Yeah.
but there's no way he could have done that because when they found his body, it had already been dead for 3 days.
My question is, what happened to Callie?
Where is Callie?
Yeah, I don't know.
Where's Callie?
I didn't even know Callie was a thing. until
Yeah,
you
it
guys
says
mentioned it.
Kurt Cobain's death. It was reported that his credit card was used several times until the discovery of his body.
It was Callie.
Somebody had his card.
Callie had it.
Someone knew he was dead up there.
So here's the other thing I want to mention real quick about the scene.
Yeah.
Most people have that rubber band around their arm when they're doing the heroin.
Right.
This thing was laid out nice and neat over by the heroin tray. So he had time to pull it off.
No, that thing's falling.
Pull the needle
on
off.
the ground.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had his wallet laid out.
I mean, because you're talking about straight into the bloodstream. We're not talking about
Yeah,
smoking
we're
a
not talking
joint,
about.
waiting,
Yeah, it's in
you know.
it's in
Yeah.
your stomach, like you took a pill or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
so
true. He would have had to have taken his wallet out, sat it, and just like,
you know what? I'm gonna just smoke some cigarettes and kill myself.
oh, yep, game over. Dang. Let's
All right,
hear about-
he
let's hit this
checked.
timeline.
He checked out of the Exodus clinic at 7:25. He arrived at the airport at 9:30. He boarded Delta Flight 788 to Seattle. Mind you, Courtney was 10 miles away from him at that hotel where Tom met him.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
He decided, I'm not gonna go visit you.
Yeah.
He's already done with her.
Mm.
Dunsey.
You know what I'm saying? So he leaves. So at 12:47, Saturday, April 2nd, he arrives in Seattle. He takes a cab to his Lake Washington house. He arrives around 1:30. According to Callie, Kurt visits him and his girlfriend, Jessica Hopper, in Callie's bedroom at that house till about 6:05. So they have a visit. Kurt left at 7:02 in a cab. He was seen by Callie for the last time on Saturday. April 2nd, phone records show Courtney spoke to Callie 8 times on April 2nd. Courtney does not reveal Kurt was seen when she hires Tom Grant on April 3rd. So she neglected to tell Tom, hey, Callie saw him at the house. She said nobody has seen him since he got back to Seattle.
Yeah.
So she's a liar.
Yeah.
She's a liar, pants on
She's
fire.
a liar, dude. And that was it.
Yeah,
that was it. That was the last time somebody saw him alive.
So Callie was the last person who saw him.
Yeah. But here's the thing. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, that's their story.
That's their story.
The last person that saw him was the murderer.
Yeah, somebody definitely was in that room.
Well, he saw himself in the mirror for sure. Just kidding. Stupid. Wow.
Okay.
Well, getting to the bottom of this is, I think we all have our theories.
Yeah.
He didn't kill himself, and I think Courtney was behind it. Anybody else got a theory?
No, I think that was the theory. That is it.
Everybody's on the same page.
She's behind it. She didn't actually do it.
Yeah, I
don't think she actually did it, no.
I think it was a skinwalker.
Oh, good one.
Yeah.
And that's why it's a greenhouse.
Exactly.
What does the greenhouse have to do with the skinwalker?
No.
Nothing.
Okay.
Absolutely nothing.
Paganism.
Oh, man. Well, that's another good one. Right?
I think so.
Okay. Kurt Cobain. I love it. Make sure you visit our website, bottomofthat.com. Check out our blog for all the resource material. From there, you can also find us on our social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and X. If you're listening on YouTube, Rumble, and BitChute, and you like this episode, do me a favor. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. If you're listening on any audio platforms, follow us and turn on notifications so you'll never miss when we publish an episode. If you did not like this episode, tune in next week and you might hear Kayla say,
I'm Dirty Dan.